All right, everybody, welcome back to the Meybohm Perspective. John Cates, your host, and happy to have Jordan Collier here today. Jordan, thanks for
Back
being
in the
here.
booth. Glad to be here.
That's right. It's changed a little bit since you were here last time. Yeah. Well, thanks for being here. So Jordan is here to talk a little bit about just himself, about Meybohm Commercial and some of the exciting and great things that they're working on, and who knows what else. So Jordan, why don't you kick us off by just maybe giving us a little bit of background on you and sort of how you got into the commercial real estate world.
Sure. So I graduated from Georgia in 2010. I have a degree in biology and biochemistry. And didn't get into med school the first year. My gap year, I was working, I did a nephrology internship, but I still had to pay rent.
Okay.
So I started working with my grandfather, who at the time was developing and doing neighborhoods, doing apartments, commercial. And I saw quite a stark difference in his lifestyle than my father's lifestyle, I'm a physician.
Yep.
And everybody thought I was crazy, but at Helga's on Central one time, we were playing pool. And they were all talking about upcoming tests and stuff. And I was like, guys, I'm quitting. And they were like, you're crazy. All are crazy. There's no way I'm going to do this. So I had a heart with my dad. And he said, Jordan, if this is not a call from the Lord, don't do it. I said, okay. So I went in the next day to my granddad and I said, I want to learn everything. So funny story. He had a 6th grade education, not formally educated.
This is your dad?
This is my grandfather.
Yep.
And wildly successful in the real estate business. And so I had 10 great years of mentorship from him. And we were in home building, land development, commercial construction. We did apartment development. And then right around the time you came back from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Actually, I remember seeing your page in the newspaper, like the announcement, like a wedding announcement, but it was announcing general counsel. I was like, oh, John, I remember John. And then not long after that, somehow we got connected.
Yeah.
And so 2016, I moved over to Meybohm Commercial, and we had some joint ventures with Meybohm. And so since then, just building the group of agents, revolutionizing with technology,
right?
Trying to impart to them what I had a great mentor teach me. So yeah, we've been running and gunning. This is our 10th year, so it's kind of hard to believe.
Yeah, that is hard to believe. What are some of the big, either life or business lessons that you learned from your granddad?
After he passed in 2017, there was a period of time when I was like, it's hard to explain, but I was like, I couldn't believe people didn't know him. Like I would run into people.
Right.
She didn't know. Amazing guy. I saw him do some of the most like antithetical business things you've ever seen when he was in tough situations financially or legally or whatever.
Yeah.
He always served first. So there was times when builders who couldn't weather the 2008 storm, which at that time we had 64 specs sitting.
Wow. Yeah.
When the market crashed. And, that was, luckily he was built on a 50, 60 year career, was like, weather that storm. But there was a lot of builders who couldn't, that came to him and asked him to buy their inventory and just to pay off bank loans. So I saw him do stuff like that. And I was like, man, already, dying, and they can't. It was never a money-making thing. And I just saw him time and time again at his funeral. And I ran into people. I don't even remember this one person who gave me a hug. And she was like, I got to tell you something that he swore I couldn't tell until he died. And she was like, in 1977 in Spring Lake, building a house. And this husband, I was running away from my husband. Him and your grandmother, stowed me away at their lake house. And then I couldn't afford a house. And he just gave me this house. Gave you the house. She was like, he just gave it to me. And I've lived there ever since.
Wow.
I don't think he did that like at a massive scale, but that's just like the kind of person. And so I would say, mainly how it's influenced how I conduct real estate now is we always try to start with the end in mind. I had this conversation twice this week, 2 high-level family offices.
Yeah.
Which are, we can come in and sell and buy, broker, build, whatever. But without understanding like what the modus operandi is. Like, what is the ethos? What are you trying to accomplish? Is this like passing wealth to generation? Is this, we're going to start our investing journey? So in both of those cases, these are successful businessmen and that have exited a business and somehow just ended up with bunches of real estate because they were using it for their business.
Right.
Well, they sell the business and they decide to keep all the real estate, and now they're heavily invested in one thing.
Yeah.
They're like, do I keep this? Do I buy more? I don't know what to do with time. And so, and those are great examples of me saying, okay, what is the goal here? Is this trying to minimize tax burdens? Is this, are we looking for cash flow? Do you want to be an active real estate investor? Do you want to be a passive investor? But ultimately, like, what is your goal? Children want to get involved. Do you have, so
right. Yeah.
We know where we are. And so then I said, where do you want to be? If you could wave a magic wand in 5 years, where do you want to be? Then kind of the way our team is structured now is we're able to develop a holistic approach to it. So these conversations, it's typically we're partnering with your CPA, we're partnering with your, and typically a wealth manager, and we're looking at the whole portfolio, not only what portion or percentage of your portfolio is between equity and real estate, but then we take like a buyer profile. We say, okay, what portion of this should be core value add, and that's a spectrum in itself.
Yeah.
And so, and the reason I bring all this up is in the last year we've started like full platform of asset management.
Okay.
So
what does that mean?
Yeah, it's a good question. Everyone's like, what's the difference between property management and asset management?
Right.
Property is like property specific, where we're dealing with like managing expenses, managing the physical property, plant, and equipment.
Right.
So bidding out landscaping, keeping expenses low,
putting on a new roof,
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Asset management is more from a holistic portfolio perspective. What we're doing is we're developing investment rationale.
Okay.
So the asset manager would work with somebody like me and the client to say, okay, we've got these 30 properties. We're aggregating all the financials from, maybe you've got properties all over the country and we're only managing within a couple of hours of Augusta. So if you've got 20 management companies, 30 properties, we're taking all of that financial and operating data and aggregating it instead of the client having to do all these different deal with us. But then we're constantly developing and refining investment rationale. So just like you would have like your login for Charles Schwab or Merrill Lynch, we have a login where you can see all your financials, and then we have deal specific notes that are guiding you. And so it looks more than just buying and selling. We're advising at a portfolio level.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we property manage, sometimes we lease, sometimes we buy, sometimes we build. But it's the holistic end-to-end services. And really, it's the moat that we've built around our business with advances in AI and these large national brokerages, dominating in the commercial space. We've said, okay, we want to be high service, high touch relationship focused, which is essentially the Meybohm way of doing business anyway. Right. The moat around all of Meybohm is relationships. And so we've said, okay, we're going to do what we call Ritz-Carlton white glove service with every client, whether it's your first deal or if you're worth $100. And it's exhausting. But it's also what sets us apart in a lot of ways. So I would say we're our tech stack and our abilities is the same as a national firm, but we have a boutique feel. And we're brokering nationally. Well, we have been for 10 years, but really we're going where we see opportunities. And that's why if you're listening to this, you probably know Mr. Meybohm. Like, he comes into the bullpen on the third road and he's like, what are all these people doing? Like why are they not out selling? I'm like, well, we really don't have a ton of sales. I mean, we do have a fair amount of sales. I think we have 17, but we also probably have 17 or 18 researchers in the back office that are doing market analysis, deal risk rating, stuff like that. And they're producing these financial reports so that we can go and add and change and manipulate portfolios to produce the highest return for clients. So it's a little bit different than I would say a traditional brokerage firm. We're high touch, high advisory capacity. But we're not fit for everybody.
Sure.
But at the same time, those that we can develop long-term relationships with, I mean, these people have become like best friends.
Yeah.
I mean, I love spending time with my clients. And I love, if you look at our core value statement, which, it's parallel to the Meybohm core value statement. They're not different. They're not the same, but they're not drastically different.
Yeah.
We have emphasis in a couple of different areas, but with nestled beneath those is the reason we exist and why. And we've boiled it down so many different ways. We finally got it down to 2 words. Our niche is commercial real estate, and the existence of why is we're on mission to serve. So literally, we've boiled that down just to serve.
Yeah.
We can serve people and love them well by thinking with everything that we do with the end. So that's kind of the mantra.
Well, that's great. And I mean, I think one of the reasons I wanted to have you on is because of what you've just described, which is, I think, a real gap in the marketplace that we see, which is you've got, a bunch of companies in Augusta that are brokers, right? They'll help you buy, they'll help you sell, they'll help you lease something. Obviously, we've got a lot of great folks at Meybohm Commercial that do that. But what you guys have really identified is something I know you and I've talked about a lot before over the last 10 years, which is people have a financial advisor for stocks, bonds, mutual funds for their portfolio. But a lot of people, their net worth is tied up in real estate, and it's not institutional real estate. So like, you go and you talk to somebody, either a trust department at a bank or a financial advisor, and when they put you in real estate or alternative assets, it's normally a REIT, or a Delaware statutory trust, or, some sort of institutionalized commercial product. But what you guys are talking about, so many people in my life, myself included, where the majority of your net worth is tied up in specific parcels of real estate. And that does not fit into a financial advisor, a bank, a trust department. None of those are really set up or well equipped to give that kind of portfolio level advice on your real estate portfolio. So I think you guys have tapped into something that, in my opinion, doesn't really exist. And I don't know that a lot of the people out there, especially in the Augusta market, are even aware that that is an option and that's some service that you guys provide.
Yeah. And I mean, we certainly, and when I say that, that's like a core pillar of what we're doing. We obviously, we work with a lot of national brands where we are with the real estate directors and we're doing site selection. All of that creates an ecosystem where when it's right for a client to develop, we have those relationships. But it may not be in Augusta.
Right.
But it is a central tenet of what we're doing, which is we love and we serve. And it's so funny, like the Lord has led us through this path of like, okay, how many leads can we get in the front door?
Mm-hmm.
We're just not I don't mean that in any other way except for there's highly transactional people and then there's highly relational people.
Yeah.
We have just found the most success with people who value long-term guidance. And so you're right. I don't know of another service that does. I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah.
But here we've just differentiated on the level of service. I want to caveat: we are not perfect. Can't get back to every
None of us
call.
are. Yeah, that's right.
Like,
that's right.
Balls are dropped, all the things.
Yeah.
But as what we're aspiring to, that is what we're aspiring to, and we're able to execute at a high level on this thing. So it's encouraging to me because the path to growth, and you probably want to talk about AI. Everybody asks about it. Path to growth in this has been the ability for us to continue to add researchers, analysts, underwriters, brokers, transaction coordinators, marketing folks. And the joy I get, aside from like the high I get from doing a deal, I love, is also getting to work with a great team of people. And the path to where we want to go is our team's probably got to double in 3 to 5 years. So it's exciting to think about pouring into these folks. And developing their leadership, developing their skill sets, professional. Just love working with people, clients, team members, whatever. It's awesome.
Tell me a little bit about. It's been really exciting for me because Jordan and my office are right next to each other, and right outside of those offices, they've completely renovated sort of a half of our floor, and you have done an amazing job of taking a company like Meybohm Commercial, and it's got a great reputation, great foundation, but really breathing new life into it. And a lot of that comes from the people.
It does.
So, you've done an amazing job of bringing in a bunch of new people, giving them, a really strong career path. Talk a little bit about what you look for when you bring on somebody to your team.
Also, phenomenal question. So I'll give you a real world example.
Okay.
So I've been looking to place a specific role, and I went through the whole process. We follow the traction model of, do they understand it? Do they get it?
Right.
Do they want this role? Are they capable with both time and abilities to fulfill the role? And then they jump through those first 3 hurdles. There's the core value match. So do they have the grit? Can they outperform? Are they good stewards? Are they authentic? Now, here's the fun one. So I just ran a candidate through that, and I was so excited. Then we do an in-person work, on the job work training.
Okay.
And I realized within 30 minutes, so there for 3 hours, I was like, something doesn't fit, and I can't figure out what it is.
Yeah.
And so I politely said, I think you're overqualified for this position, but unfortunately, I don't think you're a fit. And so through some journaling and some discussions with the team, we had our all hands on deck the next Tuesday. And I said, why do y'all think this person did? I can't quite get my head around it. It was kind of like this amorphous reason. And somebody piped up off the cuff and was like, well, we prioritize fun. And I was like, that wasn't in our core values list.
Yeah.
So I go back to it, and we spent the rest of that hour together completely redoing our core values, not abandoning anything, tweaking them and adding. And what we came up was energetic. So I'm very protective of the culture that we've built, probably some to a little bit to yours and Mike's and the accounting team's dismay. I mean, they're watching TV, they're putting golf, they're listening to music, which I have to constantly tell them to
turn the music down.
Yes. Yep. Which is part of the reason why we're moving into a new office. I can play the music as loud as you want. I'm insulating my office. But it boils down to a culture fit.
Okay.
And skills I can teach. So the capability thing, it can be plus or plus minus. The want it really needs to be a plus. They have to want to do this.
Right.
Get it in capability. I can have a plus minus, or even maybe because I can teach them that. But if innately they don't value learning, professional development, biblical worldview, all these things that are foundational for us, I can teach anybody anything, but if you don't have integrity, or I can teach you anything, but if you just want to sit in a windowless room and hear no sound, you're not going to be fit.
Yeah.
And so it is a challenge to bring people on in some ways, because we are that intentional about culture protection.
Right.
But when we find the people that fit, it's like magic. I can't explain it. Kayla Long is our newest, shout out to Kayla, our newest team member. Kayla's doing director of marketing for Meybohm Commercial. We interviewed all these people. Kayla came in and I was like, what is that? In fact, Wall Street had the other day about when you go into a room and some people you just click with. I mean, there was a lot of science behind it, but it was one of those situations. I was like, okay, doesn't matter. We can figure, can figure it out. And so that's it's very hard to measure. But it takes time with a person. But once we find them, I mean, sourcing, qualified talent in Augusta is challenging, not because there's a limited pool, but because people still hold that mentality I see regularly of high levels of company loyalty. This is not like Atlanta where they're leaving for $10 more.
Yeah.
They use emotional paychecks that come with your paycheck. So are you developing? Do you feel loved? Am I being led well?
Yeah, for sure.
Those carry a heavy weight. And then company loyalty, those things carry a lot of weight. Yeah. So we feel like we have obviously a very competitive paycheck, but also we have a great emotional paycheck that people cash in.
So that's great. Well, you mentioned a little bit about moving downtown. You guys have bought a building downtown. Tell us a little bit about why downtown and sort of why now.
Well, that's funny too. It might have been, it was either you or Daniel Stewart, but we love that Wheeler Road block. It's kind of like the financial district of Augusta over there next to Cheddar's, which because Cheddar's is there and all the banks are there, we aptly named it Cheddartown.
That's definitely Daniel.
Okay, yeah.
He's a branding guy.
So in Cheddartown, we definitely looked.
The Cheddar District.
The Cheddar District.
Yep,
whatever. Right. Where all the money is. We love it there. I don't want to disparage that at all.
Yeah.
But we couldn't quite figure out how to, one, find a piece of real estate, which is somewhat ironic.
Yeah.
Being in the real estate. So we came up with a lot of good options. None of them just fit.
Okay.
So a couple of things. One, there's definitely a community aspect of us going downtown. When we bring clients in from out of town, typically we put them at the Partridge Inn and then they're driving to Wheeler Road.
Right.
They're not getting like the Augusta feel. We tell people we're from Augusta. We've got offices in Aiken, Columbia County, and Wheeler Road, and we're like, we would love to be a part of the CBD. Also, strategically for us, I've got a number of people in North Augusta. I've got a number of people of Aiken. I've got a number of people in Columbia County.
On your team.
On our team.
Yeah.
And so it's great to try to hold an all hands on deck on Wheeler Road, but you got some people driving 5 minutes, some people driving 45 minutes. And so it's like, what's the most central equidistant location for all of our team?
Okay.
Downtown. Second reason. Third reason, we definitely wanted to make something of our own.
Okay. Yeah.
This could take the rest of the podcast. I'll give you a short version. When we began the rebranding process, essentially all we started with was branding voice. And when Megan and I did this podcast, I had no idea there was a difference between brand identity, brand voice, all these things. So we actually went out of market and we said, how do you guys, we hired this firm, we said, how do you guys perceive us? Meybohm's brand is just so dominant in the market that it's like, y'all sell houses and oh yeah, y'all do commercial too.
Sure. Yeah.
So we took all of the foundational elements from when you spearheaded this brand,
right?
And we said, okay, we don't want to get away from the tenets, like the core tenets of who, but we want to give it a separate voice and a brand identity.
Got it.
Part of that was physical separation of offices. Like that was in the pitch to us is, hey, look, we want first a voice, second an identity, third a location.
Okay.
And so we started with voice, which, gracious, that is a tough spirit animal stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just like a gut-wrenching, long, slow process. Took us a year long to finish that. Brand identity, frankly, was pretty easy. 6 or 8 weeks, they gave us all these, picked the wildest, craziest looking one. And then the location, the whole while I was looking at location, I first off, love downtown, go to church downtown, eat downtown, right? I mean, just great culture.
Right.
We feel like downtown's got a lot of good things going on. Augusta Tomorrow is super invested in them.
Yep.
The Broad streetscape improvements, you've got the new JBA, you've got the renovations at the Bell, you've got the SRP Park right there in North Augusta. There is a brewing synergy of things happening right now. We think it might be 2 or 3 years out. But we want to be a part of it and heavily invest in the community. And so those are like and I like the idea of walking together. I drove it. Mr. Meybohm cracked me up. He's like, we started there with Southern Finance 52 years ago, and now we're going back down there. We do love paying homage to that. But he was like, I want you to drive it 3 different days at 3 different times and tell me what kind of additional commute time you have. So I drove it 3 different days, 3 different times, and on average, it's going to add 9 minutes to my.
Okay. As long as you don't hit a train.
As long as you don't hit a train. But
you probably don't go in that way.
I'm mostly Washington Road.
Yeah. Okay.
And if I'm going to hit a train, I'm going to go over the little bridge at Furious Ferry and take a left and go back. But long story short, I think the additional time for me and for everybody, it's good for me to wind down before I get home.
Yeah. That's absolutely right.
I don't love walking in the door with my brain running on. Wheels. I want to
just getting done with a phone call. Yeah.
I try.
I know.
But I want to walk in and see my kids and be present. Yeah. So I'm actually, it's going to cost me $19 more in gas or every year.
Right.
So I'm excited about just a little bit of downtime.
Yeah.
The space is wild. it's like lime green and electric blue, and we'll save all of the cool things for the grand opening. But we are trying to move in before Masters.
Yeah,
kind of
that's great.
Crazy thought.
That's
but,
great.
It's just going well. Courtney Weir did the design, and she asked me all these questions. I was like, it's blank canvas. Have fun.
Good. Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And so it's been really.
That's really cool. Well, obviously, you know, anybody that spends any amount of time with you will come away knowing that you're very thoughtful. You've been that way as long as I've known you. You were very intentional, very thoughtful, high emotional intelligence, which I think is what allows people to connect with you, especially as you build that team. So sort of as we finish this up, you're a big reader. You read, you know, just as much, if not more than anybody that I know across a lot of different things. And I know also that you're doing something that's pretty cool. You've always at least told me you've had a call to ministry.
Yeah.
And I know that you are working through sort of a new phase of, I guess I'll call it education in your life. Maybe talk to us a little bit about that, what you're doing every Thursday,
That's my passion
and sort of the motivation behind that.
Yeah. So I've had a desire to do seminary for a long time.
Right.
And I kept thinking as I had children, life might got to the fourth one. My wife was like, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. So I'm at City View now. They were in Sibley Mills. So it's a division of Metro Atlanta.
Okay.
They're accredited Reformed Seminary. Very ecumenical.
What does that mean?
Ecumenical?
Yeah, I don't even know what that word means.
Ecumenical is if you go in there, it's like every denomination you can imagine.
Okay.
So you've got Catholics, Protestants, and then you've got the gamut of everything in between.
Got
Greek Orthodox in there, Eastern Orthodox. So it's a wild melting pot of ideas.
Yeah.
The fun thing is we typically stay to the core pillars of the faith. But it's like it's hard to debate about church history. Just like this is actually what happened. It's really amazing for me.
How long is the program?
So I'm doing the master's in biblical studies, which is a 3-year program.
Okay.
I'm 2 years in, so I got a year left.
Okay.
The great thing about City View, so when I was looking at doing Erskine, which is in Columbia, it's commute 2 days a week.
Right.
City View is literally built around people like me who don't have time to miss work. So it's 4.5 hours of lecture Thursday nights.
Okay.
Right now I'm in my third and final Hebrew exegesis class.
Wow.
So I've got a Hebrew exam tonight, and we're doing church history right now. But it's amazing. Kind of the baseline reasoning is, I think at a very theoretical level, the Western church has divided. You've got a bucket for work and you've got a bucket for faith. And what I've been convicted by is making sure that there's no divide. I'm on mission at work. And so a good friend of mine uses a word called avodah, which is a Hebrew word for worship. But it's the flip side of avodah is work. So there's this interwoven kind of, there's a lack of words in the English lexicon to just to say word for word what it is. Means. Yeah. So it's this interwoven concept of work and worship. And I remember First Baptist years ago used to have faith at work. Remember that?
Remember that? Yep.
COVID killed that. And so I'm always kind of struggling with if my purpose here through Meybohm Commercial is to serve, what does that mean? Living out gospel mission. Right. And so how do
you weave all that together? Yeah.
Dude, it's tough, but I mean, obviously you're going to try to live by certain principles, knowing that grace abounds and you're not going to be perfect. But at the same time, it's I wanted to be sure about what my personal statement of faith looked like. And you'd mentioned reading. I do basically I read a couple business books.
Yeah.
I'll read Lord of the Rings every now and again, but most of the time it's deep theological books. And I didn't want to be so self-taught. I feel like that's an echo chamber in my own head.
Yeah.
And I wanted accredited people saying, no, there's error here, there's error here. And also I love the gas pedal of I've got to get something done this Thursday. And so it's going to push me to do things.
Yeah.
I am self-motivated, but I just love that push.
Yeah. That accountability that comes with being in class and being there in person.
It's awesome. And the relationships I've built through it. I'm now, of course, not in a boastful way, but like, of course, like in my work, I'm now on the board at the school.
Right.
I'm like the student rep, and it's just because I'm passionate about it. And I love the school. And, but one, I wanted to grow closer to Jesus. Two, I wanted to figure out how to integrate faith and work. And three, I really wanted to flesh out, which I've worked on for years now. It's like a personal statement and making sure there's no like heretical or off base errors. And there's so much in theology that's primary, secondary, and tertiary issues. Everybody gets divided over these tertiary issues that really don't matter, like primary doctrine of soteriology, if you will. How do you get saved? Like that's what matters, right? And so like making sure these primary doctrinal issues are on point and then weaving that into life. There you go. That's my shortest answer I can give.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I love it. Well, Jordan, this has been great. We'll have to have you back on again soon. And thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.